Deep dive on PR genius.
Okay, so you know how it is, right? You want to get smart on something new, but you just don't have the time to really dig in.
And that's where we come in.
Yeah, that's what this is all about, the deep dive.
Yeah.
And today, wow, today's a real grab bag. We got this online radio station. It's called Slack Radio, and some merchandise. Wow, some truly unique merch. And then to top it all off, a piece of fiction that, well, I gotta say, took a turn I really wasn't expecting.
Definitely some eclectic source material.
It is. It is. And our mission, if we choose to accept it, is to figure out what ties all of these things together.
Yeah, what's the common thread?
And especially, it's especially this recurring mention of something called subgenius. And then to try to make sense of that rather explosive story, to say the least.
Yeah, you've handed us a real head-scratcher here, haven't you? You've got something that looks like, a pretty standard online presence, website selling merch, and then right next to that, you've got something that's just wildly surreal. So it's our job to see if there's a hidden logic, right? Is there some kind of internal consistency that connects these seemingly very different things?
Yeah, absolutely. Good challenge. I like it. Okay, so let's dive into Slack Radio first. All right.
That's good.
So, as I mentioned, it's a 24/7 online radio station.
Your standard internet radio.
Yeah. But right off the bat, right away, their store tagline, it just caught my eye.
What is it?
It says, "Discover unique Slack radio and subgenius merchandise, handcrafted by local artisans."
Okay, interesting. Subgenius. That seems to be pretty front and center in their identity.
It really does. Yeah, it does.
And also this idea of handcrafted by local artisans, I think that's really intriguing. It suggests that this is a community, a real specific kind of community where the, making things, creativity, creative output, maybe even a shared aesthetic is really, really important, is really valued.
Yeah.
So it's not just a bunch of people, sitting in their basements spinning tunes, right?
No, exactly. And the main Slack radio site, away from the store, it talks about, get this, eclectic, mutant, curated music.
Okay. Interesting choice of words.
Yeah. And they promise live shows and exclusive DJ sets. It definitely sounds like they're doing something different,
Yeah.
This is outside the usual radio landscape for sure.
Yeah, outside the mainstream for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus they're actively seeking involvement from the listeners.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. They say want to join, host, donate, or volunteer. So that tells me that there's a really engaged listenership.
Yeah, they want people to do more than just tune in passively, right?
Right. Yeah. And that points to, maybe a shared ethos, some set of values that are really drawing people in to contribute.
Sure, for sure.
And we also know who's at the helm of this whole thing.
Oh, right. Who is it?
The founder is a guy named Lord Ferg.
Lord Ferg.
Yeah, and he hosts a show called, get this, Fergin Friday Madness.
Oh, man. That sounds like...
sounds like a good time.
Sounds like a good way to kick off the weekend.
Yeah. And they launched their merchandise store.
Okay.
Summer 2023.
Relatively recent.
Yeah, very recent. Yeah. And all of the items are, they're all these handcrafted items designed by, and get this, by their own DJs and artists.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So the creative people behind the music are also creating the merch. That's a pretty cool connection there.
It really ties it all together.
Yeah.
And that brings us back to this subgenius thing.
Right.
Because it is plastered all over the merchandise descriptions.
Yeah.
And we even got a listener testimonial.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Jessica M. from San Francisco.
Okay.
She says, Slack Radio is the only station that understands the true spirit of subgenius.
Wow. That's a pretty strong statement.
It is.
It's not just that they're associated with subgenius, but that they actually embody, the true essence of whatever that is.
Yeah.
So that makes figuring out what subgenius actually is, that makes that pretty crucial to the whole picture here, to this whole deep dive.
Right, you are. So let's take a look at some of this merchandise.
Okay.
Yeah, and see if we can find some clues here. So we've got stickers. They proclaim 150 million subgenie.
Okay.
Which is a pretty precise and large number.
Yeah, a very specific number.
Yeah, it is. Then there's apparel, T-shirts and stuff with Alchemistry Labs.
Alchemistry Labs?
Yeah, and pipe duality designs.
Pipe duality? What is that, like a plumbing company or something?
Well, we see a yin-yang theme that's linked to Alchemistry Labs, too.
Interesting.
And then perhaps most telling, we've got merchandise that's directly branded Black Slack Radio, and it features something called a Dobbs head.
Okay, so we've definitely got some intriguing symbols and phrases here.
We do.
That number, that 150 million subgenii, that's actually a really key element within the subgenius mythos.
It is.
Yeah, it refers to the supposed number of people in the world that possess Slack.
We're Slack.
Slack is this kind of this freedom, authenticity. Yeah, it's kind of this core value for this group. And then that Dobbs head you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's the iconic image of J.R. Bob Dobbs. And he is considered to be the prophet of the Church of the Subgenius.
A church.
It's a satirical religion, or, maybe more accurately, a very sophisticated form of social commentary that's disguised as a religion.
Okay. Okay, so that gives us a little bit more to work with.
Yeah.
So satirical religion, that's fascinating. What about alchemistry labs and pipe duality? The pipe seems to be a bit of a recurring image here.
Yeah, the pipe is definitely strongly associated with J.R. Bob Dobbs. That's his look. And alchemistry labs and pipe duality, those probably represent some of the internal concepts, or even like parodical departments within the Church of the Subgenius.
Okay.
And that yin-yang symbol linked to the labs,
Yeah.
that might suggest that they're kind of playfully engaging with Eastern philosophies, like maybe twisting them a little bit for their own satirical purposes.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And the prices on this stuff, they range from like $4 for stickers to $130 for like a hoodie.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it seems like you can, buy in at different levels.
Yeah, dip your toe in or really commit.
Right, exactly.
Now, hold on to your hat because this is where things get a little different.
Okay.
You also share this excerpt called The End of All Bullets.
Yeah.
It is a first-person account from someone who's working for Late Night with David Letterman.
Okay.
So, I mean, talk about a shift in tone and content, right?
Huge shift.
We go from this quirky online radio station with its own, internal mythology to a piece of surreal and almost cartoonishly violent fiction.
It's jarring. Like, it really makes you wonder, how did you connect these two worlds in your mind?
I don't know. That's why we're doing this. So, okay, the story starts with the narrator in a supermarket. And they encounter this man, with a mountain of overripe honeydew melons.
Okay.
And he's puffing on a pipe.
There's that pipe again.
Right, that pipe. This guy he's thrilled to hear that the narrator works for Letterman.
Okay.
And he wants to be on Stupid Human Tricks.
Oh, no.
And then out of nowhere,
Uh-oh.
his head explodes.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Wow. Okay, well, that sudden, graphic absurdity, I think that's a really important part of this.
I think so.
It's just like this moment of pure, unexpected chaos, but played for laughs.
Yes.
Dark, unsettling humor.
Exactly.
But humor nonetheless.
Yeah. And you would think that would be the end of it.
You would think. That's a pretty definitive ending.
You'd think. But nope. The headless guy, he reappears.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Covered in Band-Aids.
What?
Still eager for his Stupid Human Tricks debut.
Oh, he's committed.
And then you guessed it.
Don't tell me.
Head explodes again.
His head explodes again.
Again.
Oh, my God.
And this keeps happening, over and over.
Wow.
Until the narrator, in a moment of, well, some might say questionable judgment,
Yeah.
agrees to get this Bob character on the show.
Okay, so the narrator's kind of an enabler here.
Yeah, maybe.
That sheer persistence, even in the face of, repeated cranial explosions, it's just so absurd.
It's nuts.
It doesn't make sense. It's so funny.
Yeah. And it pushes the boundaries of comedic violence, for sure.
Way beyond.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, but the live television appearance? Disaster.
Oh, I bet.
What did you think was going to happen?
Not good things, no.
Bob's head, it explodes on air when he clenches his bow tie.
Oh, the irony.
Right? It traumatizes the audience. They're scarred for life.
Yeah.
Sends Dave into a medicated haze. And then poor Paul Schaefer's just left to pick up the pieces.
Oh, poor Paul.
Right. But the craziness, it doesn't stop there.
Of course not. This is the end of all bullets. It can't stop there.
Right. So the next day, the narrator, they're just swarmed by more pipe-smoking individuals.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. And they're all claiming, similar but even more extreme exploding head abilities.
What do you mean even more extreme? His head already explodes.
Well, yeah, but they can make other people's heads explode.
Oh, my God.
I know, right?
Wow. This is too much.
I know. So, okay, the story ends with a narrator in a mental institution reflecting on their choices.
Right. They're getting the help they need.
Maybe. So, okay, wrap your head around this.
Okay, let's bring it all together.
We've got this online radio station.
Hmm.
It's deeply connected to this satirical religion that values slack and has this pipe-smoking prophet. And then we've got this totally over-the-top story about exploding heads and network television.
A lot to unpack.
I mean, the burning question for you, our listener, has to be, what is the link?
Right. What ties these things together? And it might seem like a total non sequitur, right?
It really does. Yeah.
Like, how can you get from A to B? But I think if we consider what we've learned about Subgenius, it's satire, it embraces the absurd, it uses subversive humor, I think we can start to see some connections.
Okay.
So yeah, the shared motif of the pipe is kind of like the surface level link, like that's the most obvious thing.
Right.
But it's the underlying sensibility that's really the key, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got Slack Radio with its, mutant curated music.
Right.
And then you've got The End of All Bullets with this just outrageous plot. They're both operating outside the bounds of mainstream expectations.
They are. So maybe the true spirit of Subgenius that our listener Jessica M. mentioned,
Yeah.
maybe that has something to do with appreciating the bizarre, finding humor in the extreme,
Yeah.
and maybe even a rejection of the mundane. This deep dive, I think, is starting to feel like we're uncovering some unexpected connections here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're onto something. We're not saying that The End of All Bullets is, official Subgenius doctrine, but I think the sensibility is there.
Yeah. Right.
That embracing the absurd, the dark humor, questioning reality, it all aligns with the kind of content that might resonate with people who are into Subgenius.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so to bring it all together then, we explored Slack Radio, right?
Yeah.
Community-driven online station. They've got their own unique merchandise. And it's all pointing to this Subgenius phenomenon.
Which is, as we learned, this satirical take on religion, culture, all of it.
Right. And then we kind of took this detour into the world of The End of All Bullets.
Yeah, the wildly imaginative, darkly comedic world of exploding heads.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And the crucial link, the thing that ties it all together.
Oh, what is it?
It's that shared sense of the absurd, that subversive humor, questioning the norms, which is all, it's all central to the Church of the Subgenius.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like they're all in on the joke, and it's a joke that most people aren't going to get.
Exactly.
Which is, I think, part of the appeal.
So thinking about this for you, our listener, what does the true spirit of Subgenius actually entail? How do those 150 million Subgenie stickers and Dobbs Head t-shirts, how do they connect with a story as wild as The End of All Bullets? And what might be the appeal of finding these seemingly unrelated, yet tonally similar, pieces of content out there in the world?
It's a really good question. And I think the answers might surprise you.
I think so too.
It's like, could the merchandise be more than just fan gear? Could it be like a secret handshake? A way of signaling to other people that you get it, that you're in on the joke.
Right, yeah.
And that story, The End of All Bullets, with all that absurdity, is that maybe a commentary on the absurdity of life in general, just kind of blowing up all the conventions and expectations.
It makes you think, doesn't it? It really makes you wonder if this whole package, the radio station, the merchandise, even the exploding heads, maybe it's a carefully curated invitation to look at the world a little differently.
Yeah.
From a slightly skewed, maybe a more humorous perspective. And maybe, diving deeper into the world of Subgenius, maybe that would reveal even more surprising connections.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe even offer a whole new way of seeing things.
Thanks for bringing this fascinating collection to our attention.
Yeah.
And taking this deep dive with us.
It's been a blast.
As always.
Deep dive on PR Genius.